Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Safari Mack Returns to Africa. I'm Safari Mack, your guide and host, helping you make connections to the wild. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all had a wonderful and safe and fun time on Thanksgiving with your friends or your family, and that you were able to have a lot of good things to eat. I can tell you right now, with my family, there was no shortage of food. I'm actually still reeling in from it myself. Of course, though, it wouldn't be Thanksgiving if I didn't say what I was thankful for. And that's for you guys. For all of you, from my subscribers to my viewers and to those who share my content, I always want to say thank you guys for continuing to make Safari Mack a reality. But today, we're moving on, and we're spending a last little bit of time in the Okavango Delta with one of the world's most misunderstood birds, the Marabou Stork, or known by their Latin name of Leptoptilus cruminifer. Now, I know this guy seems a little ugly to look at and probably not a pleasant sight, especially around with the scavengers, but these guys do us an excellent service, and in a way, with us still reeling in from Thanksgiving, I think they can help out with the cleanup. Now, before we begin though, if you're new to my channel, hit that like and subscribe button, check out my Facebook page for content on conservation, and if you have a question about animals, or if there's an animal that you want me to do in the future, you just have to send me an email, which you will always find the link to down in the description below. But if you're ready, I'm ready, let's take flight. Now, the Marabou Stork, obviously, is a member of the stork family, or sometimes known as Ciconidae. They were thought to have their ancestors were thought to have originated roughly around 40 to 50 million years ago, with some of the early Marabou stork fossils actually having been discovered thought to have been around since 15 million years ago. But now, even by stork standards, the marabou is a fairly unusually large bird. I mean, they're often credited with having some of the biggest wingspans of other birds, some of up to 8.5 feet long. Some thought they've seen these birds with even 10-foot wingspans. And now, of course, they do seem to look a little ugly if you notice their bald head and that big pouch-like throat. But, you know, these guys, the way that they appear can actually help them big time out in their natural habitat and with their occurring lifestyle of scavenging and providing a service to the planet. Now, the Marabou stork basically is a very well adapted survivor, whether they live in swamp, savannas, or anywhere where there's lots of water. They are also well adapted to surviving near human settlements. How? We'll get to that a little later. Now, generally, these birds are not what you as you can see, they can come together to form colonies. Sometimes it's a mix of their lifestyle, whether they live together, but they generally also will appear to go alone. Usually, most of the time that you would find them is either when they're coming together to breed, or if there's a kill nearby, which they are often found amongst the hyenas or jackals or even the vultures. Now, generally, these creatures, like all scavengers, they perform a service by eating away all the dead stuff, which helps to prevent disease in the long run. During their breeding season, Mom usually pairs up with another male, and then they will she'll lay up to 2 to 3 eggs, and then after an incubation period of a month or 30 days, they begin to hatch. And they won't be fully mature, at least until they're around 4 years old, leaving their nest of up in the tree that's mostly made out of sticks. Now, we're going to skip ahead today with their diet, as it's easy enough to know that their diet mostly consists of scavenging. And we're also going to skip over their the influence in human culture. We haven't done that in a long time. And we're just going to skip right to the wild things about the Marabou stork. Now, I know we've already associated that they eat mostly, are big carrion eaters. However, that's not always the case. When it comes to breeding season, believe it or not, they actually will refrain from eating carrion and actually go for more live prey, which will include amphibians, fish, other small creatures, mammals, reptiles, whatever is alive, as this has actually been proven to help fuel the chick's growth and development a little bit quicker than it would be if it was eating constantly dead material. But now, in the human settlements, they've actually been known to eat many different things, including human garbage. Even little bits of metal have actually been found inside the stomachs of these birds. And shockingly, now another shocking thing that you might not know is that they're actually drawn to fire. No, they're not looking for a death wish. Instead, what they're doing is when fire season sweeps through Africa in different parts of the continent and the areas begin to burn, they're actually looking not just for dead animals that weren't able to escape the flames, but they're also looking for insects and other smaller creatures along with all the other storks. So it seems hard to believe that these birds would be drawn to fire, but they naturally are. And another thing about with Marabou storks, especially those that live close to humans, if they are denied food, they are known to actually lash out at people. Don't ask me how, it's just what stories have been told. Now, in terms of the species as a whole, thankfully, they are not considered to be an endangered species. In fact, they are actually the farthest thing from. They're what you would call least concern, meaning that their population is well established or they're not facing too many problems with humans. However, as I've mentioned, they are adaptable animals and are now being found more along human settlements, and as a result, eating more garbage. It seems that there's a bit of an increase, and that can be maybe problematic in the future. So right now we're trying to address this as a problem and try to figure out how we can avoid it altogether or to minimize the conflict. Now, I'm afraid that's all the time I have for the Marabou stork, and I would like to just say, fairly soon we need to say goodbye to the Okavango Delta as we travel out and head to our next special destination, which I will reveal at the end of the next Animals episode. Join me next week as we begin to look into the lives of one of the most endangered species of animals in Africa, the African wild dog. But until next week, this is Safari Mack, and I'll see you all out there.